We are back. Our live polling is open. We're asking, should teachers be armed? WindyCityLive.com/vote. And arming teachers is a truly hot topic right now, but how safe is it? In Maryland, a company charges you $100 for just 4 hours of training. And Pete, you went through police training. How many hours of firearm training did you go through, Pete Kokonas?
When you're in the academy, you get 90 hours in 28 weeks. And then after that, you have to keep qualifying. And two things I'd like to say. Number one, I like that these young people are articulate enough to get their ideas across. And, you know, it basically comes down to, if you don't like what the senator or the rep is saying, vote them out. You're going to get the vote. Legislation, we need judges that actually go by the law and do the truth in sentencing. A kid that kills somebody or shoots somebody and gets a 7 to 10 year term and gets out in a year or 2 or 3, it's absolutely absurd, especially if he's a gang member. Now, the arming teachers.
Yes.
Here's my problem. I think the schools should have armed policemen.
Okay.
Because 2 reasons. One, at 8:01 when that door locks, nobody can get in that school. And if there's an armed person in that school and he takes out your security officer, how do the police get into that building? There's nothing, existentialists say there's nothing absolute. So if I want to get into your school and you have a fence and you have 3 locked doors, I'm going to go through the window. So now I have a teacher. She's armed or he's armed. And say that teacher is 5'3" and 125 pounds and has that gun on her hip. One of these young men comes up to her, threatens her, starts to approach her. What does she do? Does she take the gun out? Does she shoot him? Does she retreat? Does he take the gun away from her? The governor race in this city, one candidate has spent $70 million. Another has spent $40 million. If you took that money, you could have 1,000 retired policemen or armed service veterans in all the schools in this city and pay them $50,000 a year. And a policeman, as was shown today in the school in Maryland, he neutralized that offender. We don't know yet whether the kid killed himself or that policeman shot him. But it used to be, like the doctor said, it used to be run, hide, and secure in place. It's run, hide, and fight. And I talked to a teacher yesterday. What do I do? Do I run out in that hallway and try to fight with this guy and leave my 2nd and 3rd graders alone?
Right.
Or do I try to protect my 2nd and 3rd graders? The bottom line is the judiciary has to be tough on the laws. The legislature has to make the laws firm. You can't give a teacher, and I don't mean to insult any of the teachers here, but a 6'2", 200-pound 17-year-old is going to overpower you. And if you make that choice to draw that weapon and fire, what if you miss?
Right.
Police shootings usually are between 8 and 12 feet. 8 and 12 feet between the 2 shooters.
Absolutely.
And most of the time, nobody gets hit.
Pete, we hear your point, and we have some teachers in the audience right now. No, you're fine, Ryan.
Yeah, this is Jennifer Toomey. She is a teacher. Where do you teach?
At Hawthorne Scholastic Academy.
And what's your stance on arming teachers?
I'm firmly against it.
Why?
Well, a lot of what the commander said, it's a bad idea to put guns closer to children in schools. I became a teacher to teach. If I wanted to be in law enforcement, I would have gone into that field. I don't feel comfortable with a gun. I don't want to be trained in using a gun. And when he described a teacher, you described me. I'm 5'3". I'm not a match. And I certainly am not going to be a match with a handgun in my hand against an assault rifle or a semi-automatic assault AR-15 coming in my classroom. My job is to educate my children. If you want to arm me with resources. Arm me with funding for all programs, mental health, get me more social workers, get me more school psychologists, get me the funds and the needs that we need to take care of our children, especially in the Black and brown underserved communities in Chicago.
All right.